Hi guys, look, I have a guest. Hi, this is my cat Mimi Winter. Oh, she ready to go. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Sabine. I really wanted to share my experiences in Dubai. Now, these experiences are pre-war. I literally just got back 2 months ago. As you may know, all that's happening, there is a war between USA, Israel, and Iran. And right now I'm noticing on the internet, and disclaimer, I'm not trying to make this political at all. I'm just giving anyone a heads up of what's happening. But you know that there's a war going on, and there are countries that are being affected in the Middle East, in general. And my heart goes out to all the people who are affected. So basically, long story short, US and Israel have been attacking Iran. So Iran has been attacking back the GCC countries. Look it up. So all these countries that are being attacked are affiliated or alliances, I should say, of the US and Israel. So that is why they're being attacked at this moment. I truly do believe the Middle East is very safe. Obviously there are parts of the world that are not safe. There's no place in the world that's 100% safe all the time, because just life happens. But based off of my experiences, I've felt safe there. And I know that all these countries in the Middle East, they'll get back to normal once the war dies down. I'm just praying that there's peace, that there's reconciliation very soon, please. please. But I also reached out to a lot of people that I met in the UAE in general, and they have expressed that the government has been doing their best, like texting them and letting them know, like, stay inside, or you can go back to normal, or whatever. And then they've been also trying their best to strike down all the missiles and the drones, which I highly respect. Everybody has been saying that they've been doing their best to make them feel safe. So guys, don't let the media fear-monger you. If anything, look at the news of the people who are actually living there and giving you updates versus just watching regular news media outlets, because all they're going to do is put fear in you and tell you that the Middle East is the worst place in the world, which is not. So with that being said, let's get into the video. And I want to just share all my experiences when I was in Dubai a few months ago. So let's get right into it. Now, to explain a little bit further before I get into the details, these are kind of like I don't want to say pros and cons, but these are things that just popped out at me. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. So overall, I stayed in Dubai for over a month. That was early December to mid-January. And I stayed in 2 locations. I stayed in a hotel for the first part of my trip in Al Jadaf, which is like a newer development, and it's more local. And then for the other part of my trip, I stayed in a hostel in Jumeirah Beach, and that is where I met majority of the people. Now, I recommend hostels sometimes because if you are staying in a location long-term and you can't really afford to stay in a location long-term, I recommend hostels. If it's not for you, that's fine, but it is an amazing opportunity to meet a lot of different people. Once I first got to Dubai, you need a VPN. I tried to get on WhatsApp to call, everybody to let them know that I got to Dubai safely. And then I noticed, Dubai blocks your phone for security purposes. So my friend who was from Dubai recommended VPN app, which was called Proton VPN. So I can make video and phone calls via WhatsApp. After that, everything was fine. They also gave me a free SIM card. I think it was like, they give you a physical SIM, and then they give you like a free SIM data for like 24 hours, which was pretty nice. Immediately once you get into the country too, and then you can pay for data. That was something that really stood out to me. So they made me feel like very prepared once I got into the country. Once I got there, I really saw that it was very diverse. If anybody knows me personally, I love diversity. This is why I live in New York City. There's just so many different people from different places, and I appreciate that because you learn a lot of, new things. So in Dubai, there was just so many expats. I think it's like 80 or 90% expats. So there's just people from so many different parts of the world just coming into Dubai. So it's like a huge hub. There's everyone from Asia, Africa, Europe, North and South America. Although I didn't meet a lot of Americans while I was there, I did meet quite a few South Americans, but mainly for me, in my experience, I met a lot of people on the eastern side of the world, and a little bit of the west, like Europe. So I thought that was pretty cool. I noticed that people are very disciplined with their fitness, their faith, or their work. People are very, very focused. They're not so, obviously there are people that go out there and party a lot, but they really go to Dubai to get their money and stay or go back to where they're from. Because I don't know if a lot of you are familiar, Dubai, you can't fully be a citizen there. You can get a visa for a certain amount of years, but you can never be a full citizen. Only the Emiratis are full citizens there. So that's something that was interesting to me. Let's get into the people. The people in general are very soft talkers. They speak very quietly. I didn't realize how loud I was until I went over there. And people make it known like, oh, you're very loud. And I'm like, oh, my bad. But it's just different environment. So it just kind of calmed me down a little bit too. Sometimes I'm naturally just loud. But when you're in an environment like that, it just made me calm down a little bit. So I thought that was interesting. People were very kind and hospitable there. And if people felt stressed, or I didn't feel it because I'm an empath. So when I see that people are under stress, I notice it. So I didn't notice that a lot of people were under stress. People were very calm, relaxed, and reserved in this environment. So in regards to modesty, that was a huge thing for me before going to Dubai, because I'm like, I don't know what to really wear. Can I bring crop tops? Should I wear tank tops? All these things. But once I got there, I realized that crop tops are okay. Tank tops were okay. I did see even women more in the touristy areas that were not Emiratis. I'm talking about actual tourists or, expats who did wear tight revealing things, who did wear very short skirts and crop top or whatever, just revealing things. But I didn't see anybody stopping them personally. I didn't see anybody stopping them personally to tell them to cover up. I'm pretty sure there are areas in Dubai where they say you should cover up. But like I said, these are just based off of my experiences. I did pack more tank tops versus crop tops. I did wear crop tops as well, honestly, but I did wear a lot of scarves around myself, or just like linen pants, just to cover up. And honestly, I was just trying to change my fashion as well, and I didn't want to attract the male gaze. So honestly, the modesty didn't bother me personally. And like I said, everybody's gonna have a different experience. One thing that really popped out to me was I felt very safe, physically, emotionally, spiritually safe, and more feminine in Dubai, in the UAE in general. Like I felt like I was like a child. I could just be myself, and you know, a lot of you are know that I'm from New York. Sometimes I feel like I'm in survival mode here. Like I'm very masculine here because there's just so much going on, so much action. Whereas over there, I felt very safe. I didn't feel like I always had to look behind me, listen, you always have to be discerning. You always have to be wise, regardless of where you're at. But I didn't feel on guard over there. Especially around men. You know, I was just able to laugh a lot. I felt more relaxed. I felt more calm, more flowy, more just free. I don't know how to explain that unless you actually experience it for yourself. Everybody has a place that makes them feel like that. That was the first time I ever felt like that. I've never giggled so much in my life. Like, I giggled to the point of snorting. That's how happy I was. So I noticed that the men were very reserved. They were very respectful. I never got catcalled or anything like that. And even if a man was interested, he would come up to me and ask me if I'm married. And I'm like, I had never experienced nothing like that in my life. Am I married? Now, you know they don't do that here in America. They don't. That was different. That was different for me. And if you say yes, they leave you alone. If you say no, they try to pursue. Obviously, I'm not married, so they tried to pursue, but I said I'm not interested right now. I'm just working on myself. So yeah, that was another thing that was interesting to me. The women were way more reserved, but there were just a lot of women over there that were just not direct. Very kind, but not super direct. Another thing as far as safety, I remember when I went to the mall the very first day I was there, and I remember there was like a group of kids in the mall and they were ordering food, and I guess one of them dropped money because I was standing right next to them. One of them had to have dropped money, and one of the workers comes up to me and he's like, "Did you drop this money on the floor?" And I'm like, "No, I think it was someone else. I think it was like, there was like a few people that were next to me, like these kids." And then he stood there for like a good 15 seconds in front of the money on the floor. He picked it up and he gave it to one of the restaurant managers, and I heard the restaurant manager say, like, once that person comes back, like those kids, because I did say, I think it was one of the kids that dropped on the floor, he told one of the workers to give it back to the kids. And I'm like, and this was the first day I got to Dubai. I saw that with my own eyes. I'm like, oh, it's like that. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. I thought that was interesting. Also, midway through my trip, I lost my credit card. Great. But, so a little story rundown, I won't make it long. I lost my credit card, and I actually lost it in the train station because I was paying to re-up my card to get on the train. And I guess I left it in the machine. Oops, my bad. And I was panicking. I started to panic. And mind you, I was on my way to Abu Dhabi when I realized that I didn't have my credit card. So I was with two other people and they said, "Hey, do you want us to go back with you and get your card?" I'm like, you know what? No, we're already on our way to Abu Dhabi. I don't want it to ruin my day. And one of the guys that was with me, he was like, "I have a feeling you're gonna find your card." I was like, I'm putting everything in God's hands. If I find it, great. If I don't, I locked my card, fortunately, through my app so nobody could spend money on the card. I come back to the train station around 11 p.m. that night, along with the other person that I was with. And I told them at the train station, "Hey, my name is blah, blah, blah." Gave them my ID, showed them like, this is who I am. This is the card that I lost. Cops came to me, gave me my credit card. And I was like, wow. Okay. Okay. I was shocked. This all happened in one day. I'm just, wow. I was shooketh. I was very surprised, but I was thankful to God. Thank you, God. That moment really solidified it for me too, when I found my card that same day, as far as safety. There were moments even in the mall where women would leave their personal belongings, their purses, their shopping bags in the vanity area when before they went into the bathroom, like it was nothing. You know, usually casually you would just bring your belongings with you in the bathroom stall with you. No, they left it at the vanity because they knew they were gonna find it. And I'm like, wow, this is a very trusting environment. Now, coming from New York, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But that's how trusting it was. So you put the pieces together. You put the pieces together. Another thing that stood out to me is that kids would stay out super late. Obviously, you know, there are other adults around. There's like playgrounds and stuff. And the kids would play and they would just be out late. They had to be under 10 years old, and they would come indoors late. Like these were the things that I just saw with my eyes, and I was shooketh. I was like, am I in the same world right now? My brain couldn't comprehend all of that was happening. And I didn't see a lot of kids on devices. Kids were playing soccer, kids were playing in the playground. I thought it was a beautiful thing to just see kids just being kids. Even in the mall, like kids would just be running around with the little scooters, just having fun, just being kids, just doing kid things. And they just looked very free. And I thought that was a beautiful thing too. Most importantly, I felt safe speaking about my faith. So I'm Christian. So, you know, going to a predominantly Islamic country, I was a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, am I gonna be open to share my faith with people and stuff like that? And I was. I went to 2 Christian churches while I was out there, and it was very diverse, very mixed groups. There were some people saying they came from certain faiths and then they turned to Christianity. It felt very welcoming. Even there were people that were Islamic, and I would talk about my faith, they would talk about their faith, and I had respect for them. We had respect for each other. And I was like, this is so refreshing. Like, they would talk about the Quran, I would talk about the Bible, and then at the same time, it's like I stood firm on my faith, and they respected that, and I respect them for that as well. I never felt any type of disrespect in any way. Even there were unbelievers that I met, and they were still curious to know certain things about my faith. So I was just very surprised, very, very surprised. I fellowship and prayed with other believers while I was out there around my age. So it was a beautiful, beautiful thing to experience, and it was very refreshing. I felt closer in my faith and more conviction in Dubai than I did in New York City, which is absolutely, absolutely insane for me to say, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, when I got back, the vibes were just so different. It was just very different, but that's just my experience. I felt very, very, very convicted while I was out there, and I don't know, maybe it's because I was just in Middle Eastern ground. It was just a different experience for me. There was no recreational drugs. That's actually illegal out there, and homelessness is illegal too. I know that they mentioned there have been homeless people there. I haven't experienced it, but they really tried to crack down on homelessness there. They really don't want homelessness to be a thing, which I respect as well. I don't know what the protocol is for that, but I just know I was told that it was illegal. I heard if someone commits a crime, they will either go to prison or just get deported. You do your research on that. That's what I heard. Take that with a grain of salt. As far as cleanliness, the environment is overall clean. I didn't see any like trash everywhere. Obviously there's probably like little things here and there, but for the most part they keep everything up to par. The trains are so clean. I was like, wow, the train station's so clean. They have women and children only section, which was really nice. So if you're a woman and you have a child, or if you're just a woman, don't want to be you know, with women and men, because you have an option to go in the sections where women and men can go, but they legit have a section that says women and children only. I've been in both were fine. I didn't feel unsafe either way, so that was pretty cool. They have a gold section in the train station, or on the train. That's extra money. That is if you want to have your own seat, leg room, and just more overall space so you're not overcrowded. The train was 3 dirhams. 3 dirhams, guys. 3 dirhams is 82 cents. What? That was one way. I was like, bro, I can't believe that. I was shooketh. I was shooketh. Another thing is the train stopped running at midnight. Taxi rides were affordable in my opinion. I used Cream and Bolt app. Cream is more so like food and rideshare app. Bolt is more of the just rideshare app. But I use Bolt mostly for my rideshare taxis and stuff like that. I would literally go somewhere for like 35 minutes, 40 minutes and only pay 23 USD. That's super affordable. I can't complain. It was great. They have 24-hour services. If you want to get like food and like items or toiletry, whatever you need, it's 24 hours. Somebody will deliver it to your home, which was amazing. And they have restaurants that are like 24 hours too if you want to eat, which I thought was very convenient as well. The food doesn't have crazy preservatives in it, I noticed. It's relatively affordable in non-touristy areas. Like I spent on average $15 or less on food, which insane. The portions are really large and supermarkets were super affordable too. I think their most popular supermarket there was like, it's French, don't come for me. Carrefour, love that place. Everything super duper duper cheap. My favorite place to be there. The malls are massive, guys. The malls are massive. I personally, I need the Dubai Mall alone. I need like 2 to 3 business days for that mall. It's just I've never been in a place that was just so big with so many people. I actually got overwhelmed. My energy was, it was low. It was low. My battery was low because it's just so many people. It's so big. It's so overwhelming. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. There's every store known to man is in there. And then some. They got all these extracurricular activities in the malls. It's actually insane, but it's beautiful. Like if you want to get a workout in for free, go to the mall. Go to Dubai Mall. My favorite mall was Emirates Mall. It was a little bit small, but still very big. Very, 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 very big. And then I went to Ibn Battuta Mall. That was more of like a local mall. It was still big, but it wasn't as huge as Emirates Mall or Dubai Mall and all the other malls that they have because they have so many. Now, these are cons, but mostly, things that I'm like, things that just came to my mind, like, the Dubai traffic is crazy, even though they have multiple lanes. It's like 7 lanes per side. That's crazy, and it's still traffic. But I noticed that they're building a lot of their infrastructure in their roads, so yeah, that's something that I was personally not a fan of. Accommodations can be quite expensive too. Hotels are more affordable and Airbnbs are more affordable in the summertime, I heard, because it gets so hot that people want to leave Dubai. So when I went, it was super nice, like 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. So everything was just way more expensive. And it was the holidays too, so obviously it's gonna be more expensive. The perfume sellers, they're crafty. So be careful. When you go out there, when things get back to normal again, they crafty, okay? And you gonna see what I mean. They gonna ask you, oh, let me give you a free gift. That's not a free gift. They're not giving you a free gift. They selling you something and you're gonna end up paying for it. And majority of the time, it's a watery perfume. So, disclaimer. The other thing that was interesting to me was the weather is man-made. Meaning that they make it rain and thunder. And they do that with good reason, because they want to alleviate droughts and to increase water reserve for agriculture purposes and for consumption. So, okay, that's fine. I thought that was pretty interesting, but like, y'all playing God, but that's just me, yes. But at least they text you, they text you prior to when they're going to make it rain. So I like that they give you a warning. There was flooding when I was out there, and it would literally rain for like 15 minutes. That's it. Just like 15 minutes. And yeah, and that was it. I think it only rained 2 times while I was out there, and that was it. And then they cleaned up the water, and that was it. Sky was clear after that. The sky can be very hazy due to humidity and dust, but there were days where I did see that the sky was blue. But for the most part, the sky was pretty hazy. The last 2 things, people work 6 days a week there. I did not know that until I got there. People work very, very, very hard. And I commend, a lot of people that just come to this country for opportunity, and a lot of them only have 1 day off. Unless you have your own business and you can create your own schedule, that's the only way that you really have time to, you basically have time and energy to do things. But there are people who don't have the opportunity. So that was a discrepancy that I saw. Like, there are people who literally just work all the time, and then there are just people who have the money and the resources where they can do whatever they want whenever they want. And lastly, I noticed when I was staying at the hostel, there are people who actually were making money and they were staying in hostels. And I'm like, why are you here then? Because I'm bold, I'm gonna ask, why are you here? And a lot of them say that they feel lonely. And I was like, actually really shocked. They say that work-life balance is really hard. So it's hard to socialize. So that's why I said hostels can be a great place to meet people. Because honestly, when you're in a place where a lot of people are just working, it's hard to connect and just meet new people. So that was one thing that I realized, like, Dubai needs more social events perhaps. So if you're big on social events and want to bring people together, that's a great opportunity for you. And that's something that I truly did see that was an issue. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's all that I have in regards to my experiences in Dubai. I didn't really want to express about excursions and stuff like that. There's so many videos about that. I think it was just really important to me to share, more of the emotional and physical and spiritual side of Dubai that I noticed from my point of view. And like I said earlier in the video, prayers going up to everyone that's over in the Middle East in general that's being affected by this war. This too shall pass, I feel like everything will go back to normal one day, but for now, I just pray that everybody's safe, and just keep praying for everybody that's out there, and just send your well wishes, and let's just all be kind, Let me know down below if you've ever been to Dubai or were curious, and if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask me, and stay tuned for the next video. Bye, guys.